Well, hello there. Good evening. Welcome to another Spitfire session. It's Steve Watts here, and this is our festive Christmas special. I don't know about you, but I'm struggling to feel particularly Christmassy this year with viruses and vaccines and virulent variants and anything else beginning with V. But we're going to put that right tonight with our Christmas special, joined by a panel of coaches. No advanced questions tonight, but you will have your chance to send those over when the Spitfire sessions resume in 2021. And our continued thanks to Spitfire and to Shepherd Neame. A tough year in the pub brewing game. Booze is still not open, but Shepherd Neame have been with us throughout. So our continued thanks to our wonderful partners. Going to get straight on and introduce tonight's panel. And we've got a bit of a special one for you tonight because there's going to be a Christmas quiz coming up. So let's introduce our first panellist, who is the main man when it comes to coaching at Kent and a bit of England these days. Matt Walker, appointed head coach of Kent in 2017 after a 15-year playing career with the county. And unbeaten 275 against Somerset in 1996 remains Kent's highest first-class individual score at the Spitfire Ground, St Lawrence. Matt Walker, we love wheeling out that stat. I'm sure you never get tired of it.
Well, it's still there, surprisingly, but nice to see you, Steve.
Lovely to have you with us. Also joined tonight by Simon Cook, who took 362 wickets for Kent in 236 matches between 2005 and 2012. That after joining from Middlesex. Kent's bowling coach, appointed in 2019. And Simon's also had coaching stints with France and also the Hong Kong national side. And during the spell at Hong Kong, the country's first ever ODI and first class wins were notched up, beating along the way Afghanistan, a full ICC member, of course. Simon Cook, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. I'm delighted to speak to anyone who's trying to help grow the game in places that we don't associate with cricket. Must have been a thrill that to be involved.
Yeah, it's a thrill, a challenge. Anywhere where you can go and make a difference is always, very kind of beneficial and insightful for you as a person. And it was very good for my coaching. Very easily we can go out of first class cricket and have everything is on a plate for us, and it's all very easy. And actually to coach in some of these environments where you don't have nets, you don't have all the balls and everything else that you need and you associate. So it was really, really good.
Was it real bare bones stuff in terms of equipment and facilities?
Yeah, it was. In terms of Hong Kong, that was probably the hardest thing, being an ODI, or we got ODI status, but we were allocated 14 training sessions a year from the Hong Kong government on turf. So we had to make do with tennis courts and in the parks, and we had to organise tours to go away to other places. So we had to make sure that everything we were doing was, there was high quality, to ensure that we kind of made the most of every minute that we had. Certainly when we had turf nets or genuine cricket facilities available.
All right, lovely. Look forward to speaking to you more during the evening. Min Patel is with us tonight as well. 301 appearances for Kent, 2 test appearances for England in 1994. He was the leading wicket taker in the country with 90. Coached Kent's second 11 to trophy glory in 2019. And this year announced as Kent's new head of talent pathway. Bit of a mouthful that, Min. Delighted you're with us. How you doing?
Real pleasure to be with you, Steve. I'm really good, thanks.
You're up in Loughborough at the moment. What are you doing there?
I am. We've got a 3-day under-19 camp, which I've been lucky to be involved with for, I think, 3 years now. So up here with the spinners with the England 19s.
I've noticed, actually, that the 3 other lads are wearing their Kent tops. You've got the old England one on. Didn't go unnoticed that.
Got no other clothes with me. There's literally nothing to do. So I've got this or bare-chested, if you like, but probably not.
Yeah. Keep that on. And Mike Yardy is with us tonight as well. Of course, you will know that Yardy's entire playing career at Sussex, despite being born in Pembrey. Still haven't forgiven you for that one. A World T20 winner with England, of course, batting coach at Sussex in 2017, and brand new to Kent as batting coach this year. Good evening, Mike Yardy.
Good evening, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Was there never any chance that you were ever going to play cricket for Kent, having been born here?
No, I don't think so. I was always through the juniors at Sussex, but I used to come and watch Kent quite a lot as a youngster because I was grew up in Hastings, so kind of Tunbridge Wells and sometimes Maidstone. So I was lucky enough as a youngster to watch Min and Walks play. So I mean that probably says a little bit about their age, but I was lucky enough to come and watch them. So.
All right, well, that's already thrown question one out of the window, but we're going to do it anyway. A little bit of a quiz coming up tonight. I understand you've all got whiteboards or bits of paper or something to write your answers down. We're going to keep a tally of this through this Spitfire session and declare our winner at the end. And round number one is getting to know you. All the stats in this round will be from your Kent careers, or in your case, Mike Yardy, from Sussex, and your careers across all formats. So question number one is, which of you, and Yardy's just blown this out of the water, but which of you made your first class debut first? So who of you, of the four of you, played first class cricket first? If anyone puts Mike Yardy after what you just said, you're off. We all got our answers down?
Bonus points if you can get the opposition and various other
Who wants to go first? Mike Walker, what's your answer? Have you got your Min Patel? Okay, Mike Yardy, what have you got there? Min Patel. Simon Cook's got Min Patel, and Min has got himself in 1989, which is absolutely correct. Min Patel, 1989 first class debut, which probably means you are the oldest member of this panel. What are your memories of starting out then? How old? Well, you don't have to say exactly, but what sort of age bracket were you? Late 80s?
I think I was 18 at the time, and I wasn't actually on the staff. It was the last game of the season. It was Middlesex at Canterbury, and wow, it was unbelievable because I was still probably a few months away from playing for Dartford Grammar School against teams like Rochester Math. So it was quite a bit of a wake-up call playing against the likes of Mike Gatting and Tuffers, Gus Fraser, Ramprakash. Fond memories because on your debut you don't want to feel like you let yourself down. And I think I was 10 overs, 1 for 30 against their debutant, a guy called Jason Pooley. He was my first-class wicket. But just a phenomenal experience, really, and remember it vividly, actually.
Just thinking, was it Weeks and Pooley, the old opening partnership in those days for Middlesex?
Yeah. No, at that time it was Mickey Rosebery, a guy called Mickey Rosebery, went to Durham, yeah. It was brilliant. I remember also vividly that Chris Penn got into a real war of words with Ramprakash, and then Ramps threatened to take one of our supporters and members out around the back of the car park and things like that. So it was quite an interesting debut, but just look back on it so fondly, actually.
And that Middlesex team, you listed a few names there. Some of the real big names of the game was still hanging around for Middlesex then.
Yeah, I think their overseas was Desmond Haynes, Norman Cowans, ex-England, Gus Fraser, Tough Norn Embury as a spin twin. So, power pack side and some real stalwarts of first-class cricket like John Carr and people like that. So a really strong side, won a few trophies through the sort of 80s and 90s.
Talking of household names from Middlesex, Simon Cook, when did you make your first-class debut?
I think I know where you're going with this. I made my first-class debut in 99, I think it was, against Kent at Lord's.
I wasn't going there. But
go there. Just go there. Just let it play out.
I'm going there. Well, he's going to go there.
Yeah. So so made debut 99 and against Kent. She bowled quite nicely. I can't remember who my first wicket was. I think it might have been Ed Smith. But what I do remember very vividly is getting caught bat pad off of Min Patel for naught in my first innings at first class level.
Okay, well,
was it Walks? Did you catch it, Walks?
That's why I can't remember who caught it. Could well
probably
have
me or
been
Bob.
Walks or or Tavi. I don't know if Tavi was in there.
I just want you to know that I wasn't going there at all. My piece of paper here doesn't have that info on, so you could have got away with that.
Oh, well, there you go.
Offering it up anyway. Mike Yardy, when was your Sussex debut?
First class 2000 against New Zealand A, and we lost the toss and fielded for 197 overs. And I think they got 490, and Mark Richardson who opened the batting for New Zealand, he got 202 not out opening the batting, batted all the way through. So, and then the championship debut, we won the toss at Colwyn Bay, and they got 718 for 3. So I was pretty close to giving up, if I'm being honest.
Good job you didn't. That particular time around then, was that just before? I'm thinking of the Chris Adams, Mushtaq Ahmed era at Sussex, which of course was so successful.
Yeah, it was before Mushy arrived. No one got the 718 when Mushy played. So it's like,
not second innings anyway.
Yeah,
but that was a very fruitful era for Sussex. That years and years of success there.
Yeah, it was. It was. I think we kind of had a good squad, but then with a good work ethic and everything right, and everything, the culture was excellent. And then I think adding kind of Mushtaq Ahmed to that was the kind of gold dust that allowed us to kind of anytime you get a bowler who's going to take between 1,800 wickets a season, you're always going to have you're going to be right up there, whether you win it or you're top 3. So that made a massive difference, and I think it gave everyone confidence around him. And then we had Murray Goodwin batting wise as well, who was probably one of the great batsmen of that decade. So yeah, we had 2 quality performers.
Yeah, brilliant cricketer, Murray Goodwin, no doubt about that. And Matt Walker, I'm trying to think, what are you, early 90s for your Kent debut?
Yeah, my first class debut was in Zimbabwe, actually, I think, on the pre-season trip out there, I think against New Zealand, against Zimbabwe A. But my championship debut would have been a bit later, around about 94, somewhere around there, 94, 95, against Durham at Canterbury. Yeah, got hit through the grill. I think first innings, Mark Saxby clipped one off his toes. I was under the lid off Martin McCaig and went straight through the grill, straight to my eye. Had to come off, massive shiner. And then I think Neil Taylor then came off with a bit of a sore back, and that's going back on the field with a massive shiner. Those are the days. So no concussion screening then. Yeah, great memories. Great, long time ago now. Just about remember it, I think, but can't remember much else about that game.
I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if anyone's ever mentioned this, but in 1996, you got the highest first-class individual score at Spitfire around St Lawrence for Kent against Somerset. Obviously, you didn't take too long to get into the groove.
Yeah, I don't remember much about that, Steve. That's a long time ago. That's nearly 30 years ago now. It's, bits and pieces. It was a great wicket. I remember that much. And surprisingly, it just hasn't been beaten since. I'm amazed with all the great players that have played there over the years. And, I'm surprised no one's got a treble. I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been that great for batting in the last 10 years. That's probably why no one's quite got very close. Keasy got very close one year. They got 270 against Durham, I think. And actually, to be fair, this year I think Coxey and Jack Leaning probably would both gone past it if there wasn't the overs restriction. They would look like they were going to get 400 each at one stage. So it's still there, which is a nice record. But it'll get beaten at some stage, and it'd be nice if it's beaten if I'm still at the club. So we'll hang on to it for a little bit longer.
Can I just ask the two of you, Min and yourself, and in fact anyone else who played against Graham Cowdrey, just to give us your thoughts of Graham as a player? Sad news, of course, that he passed away just a few weeks ago.
Well, I mean, you better you go, because you were very close to him during those years.
Yeah, I mean, Graham was about as funny a dressing room teammate as you, a practical joker of the highest order. Totally unreliable human being. If he said he was going to meet you for dinner, good luck. If you could be waiting for a few hours, but loved the practical joke, and probably as good as I can remember it was, I think, Darryl Foster, who was our coach once. He came in the dressing room, Graham, somewhere, and Darryl somehow, some reason, set fire to his underpants or whatever it was, and he set fire to some part of Graham's clothing. Fozzie had gone for a shower, and in the meantime, Graham had gone to the groundsman, or one of the ground staff, got a hammer and a nail and hammered his boot into the floor at Old Trafford. Because Darryl used to wear slip-ons, literally slide his feet in and walk away. Actually, as you can imagine, everything unfolded, and Darryl put his foot in, boom, and absolutely landed flat face first. But there's so many episodes with Graham. And also a mercurial cricketer. Could win a game, really good aggressive player, great fielder, offered some decent wobblers with a seam, but a great teammate, but a real sad, way too young. and he'd had some tough times. And I think, you know, being the CLO and getting back in the game was a good thing for him from a personal point of view. But at 56, that's no age to lose the next teammate.
No, he was a fabulous guest on one of these Spitfire sessions during the summer, and of course we all saw him down at the Spitfire ground, didn't we, during the T20 campaign. Graham Cowdrey already and will continue to be very much missed. Now on to question number 2 here. Don't forget, this is all about your careers, your own careers. Which of the panel has the most red inkers? Let's hope the Wi-Fi doesn't drop out halfway through that word. Which of you, that is of course the most not out innings, the most unbeaten innings for their main county. So which of you, of the 4 of you, do you think have the most not outs in their career?
Is this just first class cricket or all cricket?
This is across all formats, I believe. As if that makes a difference. Right, who's got their answers down here? Who had the most number of asterisks? Mike Yardy goes Min Patel. Matt Walker goes Min Patel. Min Patel, Simon the Blocker Cook. Simon the Blocker Cook says,
yeah, I'm going me just because of T20, and I batted quite far down. I ended up getting quite a lot of facing 1 or 2 balls or none at all, and then walking off.
Perfect. Always good for the average, that.
Exactly.
The correct answer with a total of 83 red inkers is actually Mike Yardy for Sussex.
What? Never take
No
the
one could ever
risk,
get you
Yard.
out.
Never
No
take
one ever get you out, Mike. No one ever got you out.
I've run them all out before. So.
Come on, then. What was the secret? Were you just hanging in there at the end, or what?
I don't really know. I think it must have come at the end of my career when I was batting kind of 8 and 9 in T20s. And a bit like Cookie was saying there, you kind of go in for a few balls and I wasn't going to slog one up in the air. I'll get 2 off 2 and then walk off. So I think that's probably where it kind of came. So, yeah, it shocked me, that does. So.
Well, you are the champion of the not outs on this panel. 83 of them. To complete this stat, you might be surprised at this. Matt Walker, you had 73 not outs.
Oh.
73 asterisks. Generally batting at what number?
Well, middle order, 4 or 5, yeah. Probably a bit lower in one-day cricket towards the back end, but I'm surprised at that.
All right, Min Patel, 66 not out innings, 66 for you. And Simon Cook, 51 not outs. So going for yourself there, I'm afraid, no.
Yeah, it was a bit back for him.
Trumped you all.
Oh, good question.
Very good question. And Mike Yardy, the champion of the Red Inkers with 83. Question number 3. Who has the lower bowling average for their main county? Is it Matt Walker for Kent or Mike Yardy for Sussex? Now, the lower bowling average, and this is very, very tight. There's hardly anything between the 2 of you. Matt Walker for Kent or Mike Yardy for Sussex?
First class.
Who has the lower bowling average? I think this is across all formats. And as I say, it's very, very tight, this. Very tight. There's very little between the pair of you. Walker, what the correct answer is, with 53 wickets at 37, the lower bowling average actually belongs to you, Matthew Walker.
Yes. I spell it Guildford. It was a spell it Guildford.
There were a few golden moments along the way, Steve. First 3 years of my career, I was a declaration bowler as well. That would have been much better.
Well, listen, we spoke about this, did we not, at a session during the summer? And I don't mean this in a kind of I'm taking the Mickey gun away, but I look back in your career and I watched quite a lot of it and I remember lots of great innings. I don't have big recollection of you bowling, but obviously you did a fair bit of it. There was
a stint. Min will know the years. I'm terrible with years, but there was a period, probably just about before Hall, Kemp, that sort of era, where I did bowl quite a bit in one-day cricket. Actually, I was sort of the fifth seamer, should I say, and bowled a few overs along the way. And then I think those guys came, and I sort of slipped down the rankings a bit and didn't bowl as much. But I used to love it. It used to break up the day a bit, and were some great moments. There were some memorable moments, especially at Sussex. Did you play that game, Yards? That 50-over game?
That was my league debut, one-day debut. Yeah.
We won off the last ball. That was
Outrageous.
an incredible game.
Final over to the greatest player in cricket.
Like
Michael Bevan.
Yeah.
I remember getting kissed by Min's brother. It was like a pitch invasion, like we won the World Cup. But if anyone wants to, I'm not going to tell that story, but just Google that or research it. It was an extraordinary game of cricket. But yeah, some good days. It's to hurt a bit more as the years went on and you didn't bowl as much. I don't know how they do it now, these boys. I don't know how Cookie went through his career bowling all those overs, but it was good fun being a bit of a part-timer.
And what would you got up to on the speed gun?
I have a good day. If I'm in rhythm, 70 miles an hour, but probably just up.
What? Downhill,
Come on, down the hill, 70, up the hill.
Scarborough. You remember Scarborough?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I got collectively abused by about 4,000 Scarborough fans. Scarborough's for those who haven't been there, it's like it's in a bowl. It's a great ground. It's in a bowl, and I was bowling up the hill. So being quite small as it is, I would have looked even smaller probably at the bottom of the hill. I took my first, just to the top of my run-up, one singular voice from the crowd just sparked out, hi-ho, and then every step it was hi-ho, hi-ho. I'm off the book as I bowled, and I think Vaughan was back, Marshall was keeping. If I got the ball straight, it would have been a pole, definitely, but brilliant. This crowd, this in unison, this brilliant. But yeah, those are good moments. Good moments.
All right. Well, still, I reckon Min tops you on the speed gun anyway. But
yeah.
Listen, I just want to jump to Mike Yardy's defence here because I'm thinking back.
Yards was quicker than me. Yards bowled quicker than me, to be fair. Actually, I reckon.
Well, no one ever got him away, did they? No one ever scored runs off Mike Yardy in T20 cricket. 4 overs for about 12 runs every single match, and it didn't. We'd all seen it, and no one could ever get you away, Mike.
Yeah. I think it was describing in the paper of like it's like mystery spin because no one understood how I could get away with it. I think that's how they described it. Yeah, I don't know. To be fair, my last game someone got hold of me. Dave Willie hit me for 34 in my last over, I think in domestic T20 cricket. So he clocked on. So that was a good way to end that.
I'll tell you what though, what you did get back in the day when Sussex were successful on TV a lot, every commentator saying, here he comes with his left arm darts. Never get on your nerves, people describing it as that?
I mean, it is disrespectful, isn't it? But I mean,
it is.
That's not. I think it's probably. I think it's probably what it was. So no one else bowled left arm darts, did they? So it was like it was something a bit different. But no, I knew I couldn't really spin the ball, so I always worked on the premise that I just had to straighten one, and if one straightened, then I was okay. If it didn't straighten, then it was going to be trouble. So yeah, there wasn't much flight and goal, but you work with what you got, don't you?
Well, it was very effective, wasn't it? Very effective. So Matt Walker with the lower bowling average. Question 4. We're moving on to batting here, and who has a higher Kent batting average? And it's between Min Patel and Simon Cook this. And again, there's hardly anything in this. There's only 0.12 difference in the batting average between Min Patel and Simon Cook. So which one has the higher batting average out of Min and Simon Cook? Virtually nothing between them. Right. What have you got for us, Walks? You've written down your answer? Oh, Simon Cook's gone for Min Patel. Yeah.
I'm going to back myself.
Min, what have you got?
Me. I've got to back myself.
I think those not outs, just swing it.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually. Well, Min, you're absolutely correct to back yourself with a higher batting average, just over 4,000 runs, 16.45 the average. Simon Cook, 1,700 runs, just a little bit more, at 16.33. So there's nothing between you. But Simon, you mentioned it earlier, coming in right down the bottom of the order there. How many important knocks you remember you had down there?
Yeah, there were a few. One one, a couple of 4-day games. One stands out. We had a good 4-day game against Hampshire on a spinning pitch. Shane Warne, I remember batting with Min actually, I think for quite a long time against Warne day 4. Batting for Middlesex against Kent when Murali was playing for Kent. So getting through those sort of periods was certainly on used wickets was always good fun. But yeah, there's lots of. I think it's back then, back end of my career, bowlers were getting better as batsmen, and now actually, you know, some of the guys in our current team, you know, Milnes and Podmore, that, you know, they're having fierce battles, and they were at 10 and 11 at one point in this year. And they were spitting feathers that who was going to go 11. I mean, they're desperate to get up the order and bat and be classed as genuine batters. And I think as time has gone on, you know, when I first made my debut, we had you know, our tail at Middlesex was Fraser, Tufnell. They were kind of 10 and 11 locked in, and they were pretty much walking wickets essentially. But now you don't really have those. They're not in the game anymore.
Well, Tufnell really was, like you say. I mean, think of a past era, really, a proper number 11, or maybe even a number 12. I mean, you really don't see that anymore, do you?
No, you don't. And it was quite comical. Everyone would just go and look on a balcony when he went into bat, because something was always going to happen. He'd walk into bat, he'd have his thigh pad on, he'd have 2 thigh pads on one side of his leg and one on the other, because when he went to try and pull the shot or pull the ball or back away, he would always turn his back on the ball, so he made sure he had a thigh pad on the other side as well. He had 2 arm guards, one on each arm, and it was hilariously comical what he was going to do. And sometimes he'd slap a few runs, he'd get a few, you know, a few away here and there, but something would always happen. It would be a comedy moment almost. But now that's gone completely. You know, you have 10 and 11 walk in, and they could put on 100 runs quite easily nowadays.
And Min, for you, 4,000 runs. I'm sure most of them pretty valuable. If I may say so, I remember being at Kent and watching games, and Kent was, say, were in a decent run chase, and you were coming in with perhaps a few still needed. And a lot of supporters would say, it's all right, Min, or see us over the line.
Yeah, blind faith, really, from them, to be honest with you. For about 15 years. And I mean this genuinely, actually. If I could go back and really change something that I did in my career that would improve me, it would be actually take my batting more seriously in games for the first 15 years. I actually undersold myself, if I'm honest. I actually batted with a better mentality at the back end of my career, and actually got my head down a bit more, and probably had a couple of years where I did okay in the mid-20s and stuff. There's some great defensive rear guards. I remember that chef against, it was me, you and Amjad really, for 2 sessions that we kept warning out on day 4. I love batting, but didn't take it seriously enough. And that's one thing I would seriously change if I could go back in time.
Do you think if you were starting out now, you'd have to take it more seriously? It'd be a requisite.
I think you'd get more time on task. I think we do. I think we definitely allow the bowlers to spend more time on understanding how to bat and hold an end, or do a job and fulfil a role, more than we did back those. I remember pre-seasons, I probably wouldn't be on a batting schedule, and I'd find myself trying to sneak a hit in during a lunch break or something. So I think those things where coaches now definitely schedule time in for everyone in the squad to have time in the nets as a batting group, then helps that value. Yeah.
Okay, you'll be pleased to know that's the end of that first round, which is all about you. We're going to talk about other people now as we move into round 2, which is Kent cricket in 2020. A very strange season, a very short season, so much crammed into such a little time. The first question is, who played the most official matches for Kent in 2020? It's actually a tie, this. There are 2 players. So if you can name both of them, that'd be great. And for a bonus point, can you name how many matches? So the question is, who played the most official matches for Kent in 2020? And for a bonus point, how many matches was it? So have a think on that. Who played the most official matches for Kent? 2 names at the top of the list here. Either will count. Both is better. And how many matches did they play? Who's got Mike? You got an answer in for us? Righty ho. Daniel Bell-Drummond, Jack Leaning with 16. Matt Walker with Jack Leaning. What do you got there, Min? I can't quite see that.
Leaning 15.
Leaning with 15. And Simon Cook's gone DBD and Leaning as well. All correct. And for the bonus point, it was 16 matches. So Daniel Bell-Drummond and Jack Leaning between them, the most appearances for Kent in 2020 with 16 matches apiece. A quick word with the official, with the main man here, with the coach, Matt Walker, if I can. Daniel Bell-Drummond, I'll tell you what, he took over the captaincy for a long spell. He was good at it. Terrific year for him.
Yeah, I think, he's done it a bit the last couple of years. He's filled in for Sam. And I think this year, I think really saw him really mature, actually, as a bloke and a captain. Takes a bit of time. It's not an easy role when you're just filling in for somebody as a captain. But he's become much more of a natural at it now. I think he's really grown into that role, and I think the players really responded well to him. I think it's not easy when you're doing that role. You feel like you're sort of carrying somebody else's philosophy forward. But he's a very calm character, Daniel. He's very relaxed, lets the players make their own decisions, and just sort of guides it along. And I think you saw in a couple of games this year, especially, I think at the Oval in the Championship game, when he got very tight towards the end, how well he manufactured that situation. And the great game at Sussex, the T20 away down there, where it was extremely tight. And again, calm head and managed to get us over the line with some smart captaincy. And it takes time, these things. Not everyone's sort of born a captain and can just sort of step into that role. But Deebs has found his feet. I think he enjoyed it more this year. And you do see people, it doesn't matter what stage of their careers, it could be early on in their development or a bit later down the line, all of a sudden things just start to feel a bit more comfortable in those situations. So he did really well on that front, and his batting in the T20 competition, well, he was top of the pops, leading run scorer in that comp. He took on board what, the areas that he needed to work on. He's always had his record has always been very good, but trying to get that strike rate up and keep it going up is what the message was for Deebs, and he did it. He scored so quickly this year, and the average was good. Played some really, really great knocks, and great to see him in Sri Lanka in that competition. For him that will be a really good experience. He should be on close to people's franchise picks around the world, because he's that good a player at the top of the innings. But it's a competitive place, being an opening batsman T20 cricket, and you've got to be right up there if you're going to get picked for further honours, for sure. But he's done great.
Let's have a quick word with the batting coach about the other player at the top of that list, Jack Leaning. Mike, what has he brought to Kent?
I think the one thing that comes across with Jack is that I think he's only still 27. He seems very experienced in terms of his knowledge. He's obviously played at Yorkshire, played in the winning team at Yorkshire for a long period. And obviously we both joined Kent this year, but the one thing he has, he just loved it, and he's really embraced everything about it. And when he comes in, he adds an energy, and there's no kind of doom and gloom. He's very positive, and I think if he stays like that for the rest of his career at Kent, then he's going to perform very, very well. And obviously, that's massive partnership with Coxey will be not like the highlight of his Kent career, but also I imagine the highlight of his career, because it was exceptional to see, and it was just a taste of what he can actually do. And the other innings that kind of springs to mind was the one when we were kind of looking to qualify for the T20s against Middlesex, and he showed, I think Walks kept highlighting that, his record he had down the bottom of the order, and he really showed that it wasn't just, aimless swinging in the head day out. He literally, set the innings up and picked off the right shots at the right time, and had a real kind of composure and calmness around him. And that's, as much as you need the power hitters, you need people who can manage the innings at kind of that 5, 6, 7 in a T20 team. And I think he'll add absolute value in that role as well.
Yeah, I thought the way he managed that particular innings you're talking about in the T20 superbly. I can't believe he's only 27. Like you say, he seems to have been around forever. Daniel Bell-Drummond and Jack Leaning. then with 16 matches apiece, top of the list for appearances for Kent this year. Question 2 in this category is who took the most wickets? You're going to get this. Who took the most wickets for Kent in the 2020 Vitality Blast?
Ooh.
I think it's quite an easy one. Who took the most wickets for Kent in the 2020 Vitality Blast? And for an extra point, how many wickets was it? That's the extra point question. How many wickets was it that the leading wicket taker in the Blast took for Kent during the 2020 season? Matt Walker, have you got an answer? Well, Simon Cook's got an answer. Fred Clarson, okay. Fred Clarson, yeah. What do you got for us?
Freddie,
Fred
I've got
Clarson and Freddie Clarson. This person took 13 wickets in the Vitality Blast, and you're all absolutely spot on. It is Fred Clarson. He was the leading wicket taker for Kent. Imran Khan got 11 and Matt Mills 7. Let's speak to the bowling coach then about Fred Clarson. A lot of impressive performances in the Blast for him this year.
Yeah, he built on some good performances the year before, and obviously he's been playing fairly regularly for the Netherlands as well. So he's actually, although he's a young bowler, he's actually one of our more experienced bowlers, and he took on that mantle of leading the attack. I think that really helped him to relax into his role. And he bowled in lots of different positions. Deebs had a lot of confidence in him to just throw him the ball either first over of the game, or he bowled the last over of the game at Sussex. He's worked a lot on being very clear and concise to what he wants to bowl and where his field's going to be. So I think he took a really big step forward this year, not only technically and tactically, but I think from his confidence point of view, he led the attack. Everyone was looking at him in those key moments, and he delivered more often than not in white ball cricket.
You mentioned that Sussex game there. I mean, talk about keeping your nerve. Was it 2 wides at the start of that over, and Sussex were favourites? The comeback from that position. Yeah,
I mean, it's watch the over back, and actually one of those wides didn't hit the cut strip, which is actually a no ball, which was missed by the umpire, which would have probably cost us the game in the end. But yeah, to come back in the back end again, I think it highlighted the calmness that certainly DBD brings to that, where they were communicating all the time, and also the clarity that Freddie had with what he wanted to bowl, particularly in those last 2 balls. He wanted to go bouncer, and then bowl slow ball back of a length. He had it in his mind. That's what he was going to do. Set it up and he delivered it. And it was an amazing moment, really. It was a great game of cricket, really good game of cricket.
Yeah, I wonder if Ravi Bopara is over it yet.
Yeah, he looked pretty upset. Little stamp of his feet, or a little jump up and down. wasn't very happy when the decision went against him. When
the cameras that were streaming that game are so far away, do you know what? I can still lip read. Couldn't repeat it here. Fred Clarson with 13, leading wicket taker in the Blast. Talking of the Blast now, onto the batting front here. This is question 3. Which Kent batsman had the highest strike rates in this year's Blast? Remember, this is strike rate, not necessarily, not runs. So who had the highest strike rate in this year's Vitality Blast? Right, who's got their answer in here? Everyone in? Matt Walker goes to Zach Crawley.
I'm
for us.
on Cox, actually.
All right, you're gone, John Cox, Jack Leaning from Simon Cook, Daniel Bell Drummond. All right, so a bit of variation here. I was trying to throw you a curveball by saying, don't worry about runs, just worry about strike rate, because the correct answer with 156, doing this across many games, by the way, is Zach Crawley. And Matt Walker is peering around that board like he knew that. But seriously, I mean, they say not just about runs, because he's got stacked those, but 156 is a strike rate. That partnership he formed with DBD at the top of the innings in the Blast was great to watch most of the summer.
Yeah. Look, I mean, if you just forget, because of what Zach's done recently, still really in his infancy in T20 cricket. I mean, he played the year before, little bit, and started to sort of find his feet in that competition. But this year, he top of the order. I know it's a good place to bat. Everyone wants to open the batting, but he just took it on this year. He came back from England duties. He wanted to be back. He was obviously great form, and just set it off. And I think it really helped Deebs. Actually, I think it gave Deebs almost the permission that he could play like that as well. And those two in unison, I think they kind of encouraged each other to just keep going. I mean, what I like about Zach is, and Daniel's similar in lots of ways. They play good cricket shots. They don't just stand there and try and slog it. They actually play good, strong shots. Zach's so good on the short ball. You miss your length and line, you're going to get punished. And that's why that partnership really thrived. It was high strike rate, but fairly low risk. And I mean, his innings at the GS Bowl when he got that 100 was, I mean, it was faultless. I mean, he was so. I mean, I spoke to their coach at the end, and he sort of summed up really. He said it was a low risk, high strike rate, chanceless 100. And in a T20, you just don't. It's just not. That doesn't really happen. Everything went along the ground to the big side, and if he was going to hit it out the park, he took the short side on. It was just a masterclass, really. And someone, you're not surprised by what Zach's doing at the moment. He's that good a player that nothing really surprises you. But to come in and just sort of find his feet so quickly in a very different format to opening batting, the top three for England just recently for playing Test cricket was a real credit to what a player he's becoming.
Well, on that point, I wanted to bring this up with Mike Yardy, actually, that Zach had done what he'd done in the England environment in red ball cricket, but strayed into the T20 team. And, well, he obviously was just seeing the thing. He was in great form, seeing it like a football. But how difficult would that be, Mike, from playing in international red ball cricket to come back and play for your county at T20 and just carry on scoring stacks of runs as though it made no difference to him?
Walks was talking about it today and the kind of lead up to it. And actually, I think he'd been in the bubble for such a long period of time and kind of been away. And, Walks said he texted him to find out before the game, whether he was fit, he was able to play, and he was keen, and he obviously batted for most of that Test match, got 260 odd, and then still comes back 2 days later and opens the batting for Kent. I mean, I can only imagine when you scored 260 odd in a Test match to come back and play white ball T20 cricket, he must be seeing it like a beach ball. And he was, to be fair. He kind of, I remember the first over against Hampshire, I think he took it for 16 or 18. Right, and it was just literally kind of, short pull, full drive, cut. And it was just so simple. And yeah, he just kind of I think he set the tone for the T20 campaign batting wise in that over of like this is how we're going to go and play, and and the lads followed along the way with that. But yeah, I mean the guys here know him a lot better. But the one thing that comes across to me is the exceptional work rate. He doesn't seem to change and have huge highs and huge lows. He's very level headed and. And it definitely comes across that he loves coming back to play for Kent. Which, like you say, is that when you've played for England and the scrutiny and things like that, a lot of people, understandably like time off, to kind of have a breather. But he comes back and loves wearing a Kent shirt and performs.
Yes, I seem to remember a couple of bowlers in matches at the Spitfire ground in the T20. First ball, back of a length on his hip. Thanks very much. Next, it was seriously. We'll talk about a player in form, absolutely unbelievable. Zach Crawley, 156.88 his blast strike rate. Just to put the rest of the record straight, Daniel Bell Drummond 155, almost Joe Denley, who of course came in late after coming out of another England bubble, 142. Final question in this category, question 4 here. Who hit the most fours for Kent in the Bob Willis Trophy of 2020? So who hit the most fours for Kent in the Bob Willis Trophy? And for a bonus point, how many fours was it?
God.
I know.
It's one or two, isn't it?
So who hit the most fours for Kent in the 2020 Bob Willis Trophy? And if you can get a bonus point, you will get one if you can tell us how many fours that was. Right. Matt Walker goes Jordan Cox with 36 fours. Mike Yardy, Jordan Cox with 34. 32 Jordan Cox from Patel, and Simon Cook has gone Jordan Cox. Do you want to give us a number?
I'm going 38.
38. Okay, well, the answer is the most fours for Kent in the Bob Willis Trophy was Jordan Cox. And the number is 39. 39 fours.
It's coming late.
So good stat.
Did.
Well, you can see the tactic, can't you? I'll wait for everyone else to answer.
Yeah.
Point for 38.
We can all see that, can't we? But 39 fours for Jordan Cox. Jack Leaning hit 36. Obviously, they shared that monster partnership. Marcus O'Riordan, 32. I don't know who wants to talk us through that partnership. It's already been alluded to tonight. It's been spoken about a lot this year. Of course it has. But how special was it? Min, did you see any of this partnership between Jordan Cox and Jack Leaning?
Only on the platforms. I wasn't there at the ground like these boys. But, you know, I was following it, and having spent a bit of time with Jordan over the last couple of years, just you're thinking, right, keep going, but never do you think you're going to get to that point where the side will, 540 for one, and you're watching a newcomer from Yorkshire who's probably thinking, right, I want to make my mark early, and a young lad who's, again, doing the same. Just watching that partnership, I wasn't there, and you need to ask these guys about what it was like watching them to put that together. But all I can do is say I was following it closely and just hoping each hour and each session goes by that they're still red inkers, and it was incredible to follow it that way, let alone be there.
One of those strange games or innings where you've always got a certain level of nervous kind of anticipation first hour or whatever, you know, when you come in. But after that first hour of them batting, I just never felt they were ever going to get out. And it was just like, okay, right, it's now lunch, and okay, now it's tea, and it was just almost felt like it was almost a given that they were going to bat 120 overs and then walk off, and they were just never going to get out. It was a very strange, bizarre feeling. I mean, they batted with that much control on a pretty good surface, to be fair. But yeah, amazing.
Well, that is the end of the second round, which is Kent Cricket in 2020. We're going into the third and final round in just a moment, but I do have some latest scores here. Min Patel has 6 points. Simon Cook has 6 points. Mike Yardy has 6 points. Matt Walker has 7 points and is doing a Tottenham Hotspur, is just about top of the league there, just with 7 points. I'm going to keep banging on about that, by the way, because it's probably not going to last. So Matt Walker with 7 points is top of the leaderboard as we move into our final round. I'm not sure how this is going to go because this round, which is worth double points, by the way, so it's by no means all over. Round 3 is who tweeted this.
No chance.
So this is all, I know, with you. This is all about Twitter and who said what on Twitter.
Matt Walker should be handicapped for this round.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should do double points for the rest of you and only single points for Walker. He's already.
That's fair. That sounds fair.
I'm not on it very often. I'm casual Twitterer.
Try never. That's even better for your social life. December the 16th, 2019. Who tweeted this? It's a very special feeling. I can't wait to get out there. This was after an announcement that some Kent players will be playing for England, for the England Lions. So who tweeted that almost exactly a year ago? In fact, a year ago tomorrow. Who tweeted, it's a very special feeling. I can't wait to get out there. Right, what have we got? Ollie Robinson from Simon Cook. We've got Ollie Robinson. We've got a full set of Ollie Robinsons. In fact, the answer I've got here is Matt Milnes. Because, of course, Matt Milnes and Ollie Robinson, England Lions during the winter. So double points. Double times 0 is still nothing. Let's have a quick word with Min about those two players. We mentioned earlier Jordan Cox. What about someone like an Ollie Robinson? Have you measured his development?
Again, similarly sort of accelerated really for these guys. Robbo, academy player. I remember we took him as a non-pro on our first trip to the West Indies Regional 50. A big steep learning curve for him. And I remember going back the second year, and it was a completely different young man in the way he practiced, in the way he went about his preparation, his fitness stuff. There's the 12 months between the two Caribbean trips. I thought we'd seen the emergence of someone that really could make it in first-class cricket, and then couple that with how he's gone on early in his first-class career with some really valuable hundreds. And I think that again, you'll have to ask Walksy, who was at the ground for it, but the 100 against Yorkshire against a really good seam attack, I think, to get that in your bank early doors in your first-class career was probably a massive confidence booster for him. But he's, again, each hurdle or obstacle he's faced at each level, he's managed to overcome it quite quickly. But that's as much to do with his character and the way he's grown up as a young human being as much as his cricket skill. Great kid.
Walks, you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything Min said there. He just, he just gets better very quickly. Very simple outlook. Doesn't, not a fluffy player where needs a lot of sort of managing or needs telling a lot. He gets it very quickly, understands what he needs to work on, and you see the improvement very quickly. And I agree, man. I remember seeing Robbo as a 16-year-old on the academy, and be honest, it was, it's hard to make judgment, final judgment at that age. Of course it is, but he's a decent-looking player. But is he going to go and play 150 times for Kent? I'm not sure. But then from then on, he just got better and better each year. He came onto our staff, had an amazing year in the second team, scored a lot of runs for Min in the second team, forced his way into the team through weighted runs, and never really looked back. And he makes batting look very easy, Robbo. He's got a very simple technique, incredible temperament. I mean, some of my favourite innings of 2019 was at the Oval when we were chasing a lowish total. We lost 2-3 wickets very quickly. It could have been a sticky one. Morkel had his tail up, and Robbo came in at 5 or 6, I think, and just got us home without even sweating. He got 50, 60 not out, and just calmed everything down. He's got, for a young man, incredible calmness about him. And I think he's going to have a very, very good career if he keeps improving the way he's doing. And great that he got that reward as with Milnesy for that trip in with the Lions. And it's a shame nothing's happening this winter, because I like to think they would have both been on that one as well.
Well said, but it was still Matt Mills that said it on Twitter anyway, apparently, from around about a year ago. Now, the next tweet, or whatever it is, that we need identifying is, please, it says here, it was on December the 19th, 2012. I'm not sure if that's a misprint. But anyway, who tweeted, or whatever, this, Instagram is class? Now, who would have said that? Who would have said...
Yeah. Sounds like a Coxey statement, but it'd have been nappies back then.
Well, it says 2012, but that could be a misprint. It could have been last year. I don't know. It could have been tweets of the last year. But who said Instagram is class? I would probably ignore that date because it may be a misprint. I'm not sure. But anyway, Simon Cook's gone for Harry Podmore.
Yeah.
He's got to be a leading candidate. Matt Walker's gone for
Cox. I can't see. Cox 2012. It must be wrong. But
Podmore. Okay, so there are two. There are two here to choose from: Jordan Cox and Harry Podmore. I'm with you now. I would have said Podmore all day long, but actually, so maybe it was 2012. The answer is Sam Billings, who said Instagram. Of
course, it would have been if it's Instagram.
Is he mad for it? Instagram. Is he mad for it, Billings? Bit of Instagram. Yeah.
Well, Instagram Pro, Bilbo. Yeah.
Only if he's with an A-lister as a sidekick.
That's true.
What A-lister's sitting next to him in that picture.
Yeah.
Waste of time. Anyway, Sam Billings. Sam Billings said Instagram is class. Who tweeted this? This is from the 25th this year, by the way. I don't like trampolines or Frozen anymore. And I presume Frozen is the film. It's got a capital F. So who tweeted that? I don't like trampolines or Frozen anymore. So it's got to be someone with youngish kids or someone with questionable taste in movies. Matt Walker goes Joe Denley, Darren Stevens, Mike Yardy. What have you got there? Denley and Simon Cook, who waits for everyone else to answer before going.
You've got to pull yourself up.
No, I'll say Denley as well. I'd say Denley as well. I'm not can't think. I was maybe Grunners, but he's got 2 boys. So.
Okay. So you're going Denley, are you?
I'm going Denley.
All right. Does your pen run out?
Yeah.
The answer is Joe Denley. So congratulations for those who got Joe Denley right. That was, of course, during the lockdown. So he'd had enough of trampolines, had enough of Frozen and watching movies. On a more serious point, bowling coach, how was it trying to keep these bowlers ready? You didn't know when you were going to start. You didn't know if you were going to start. How did you keep them in the right frame of mind and physically fit?
I think that's they're both were really important, but we really worried about them physically. Not so much what was going to happen in the first part of the season, but what the impact of them going into a season with minimal bowling was going to have at the back end of the season, and more importantly, what was going to happen in 2021. So yeah, that was a big challenge, certainly during the initial lockdown period where we weren't allowed to do anything. The boys did brilliantly. Rob was excellent with his S&C, lots of fitness challenges to keep the guys mentally stimulated. And then the guys started back doing some basic bowling on their own. They weren't allowed any coaches. They had to have their own balls. They'd turn up at the ground and do the lonely yards and just get in there, bowl there, 5 overs and then leave, not speak to anybody, which was very alien to them. And a few did kind of struggle with it. And then tried to compress an entire pre-season into 3 weeks through July was incredibly tough. And they did magnificently well. They got through the season. We had one little minor scare with Milnesy, who kind of tweaked it back, but that was through fielding. But they did brilliantly well, and touch wood, it's not going to hang over into 2021, and we should go into this year with a fully fit bowling unit.
Yes, hopefully this vaccine, if nothing else, gets rolled out successfully and we have a full season. We have a crowd in for every single game as well. That'd be marvellous. It was Joe Denley who tweeted that. I don't like trampolines or Frozen anymore. Back in 2015, apparently, who tweeted this? I don't think Calvin Harris makes a bad tune. Who tweeted that? I don't think Calvin Harris makes a bad tune. And that is a correct statement, actually. Calvin Harris doesn't make a bad tune. It was acceptable in the 80s. Min Patel goes Daniel Bell Drummond. Alex Blake from Simon Cook. A couple of interesting answers there. Darren Stevens from Mike Yardy, and from Matt Walker, Daniel Bell Drummond. Well, the answer is, I don't think Calvin Harris makes a bad tune, was tweeted back in 2015 by Daniel Bell Drummond.
Oh.
He's never said a truer word, DBD. Love a bit of Calvin Harris. Who has the say in the music in the dressing room? Who's in charge?
Physio, actually, the physio bizarrely has he's in charge of the speaker, and his taste in music is appalling, actually. And I'm a man of an eclectic music taste, but he likes a heavy bass and some really fast guitars. He's a bit of a metalhead. So you're going for a nice quiet half an hour before anyone else gets in the dressing room on match day, and he's pumping out of his physio room. But it's spread evenly, actually. It's spread evenly across the group. There's a few rap lovers in there. We need Min Patel back in there for his smooth tunes. His soul. That's what we need. A bit more mellow stuff.
Well, what used to go on the machine in the day? What was it? A CD player, probably then, wasn't it?
The old Discman. Do you remember the old Discman with the old?
Yes, I've got one.
Yeah, that's how old I am.
Yeah.
With the old cassette. The old
Walkman.
The old tape got stuck, and you had to unwind it, get your pencil in. I mean, problems back in the 80s, Steve.
And who would your artist of choice be if you were choosing the music in the dressing room?
Well, to satisfy the lads, it will probably be currently something like The Weekend if it was now, but back in those days, anything that was 80s, 70s, 80s soul music for me.
Mike, did you ever say back in your Sussex days?
No, I was never allowed near the music. I would have just had Oasis banging out, and I think they would have got annoyed at that quite quickly. But no.
What about you, Simon?
No, no real choice in music. I listen to anything. Definitely wouldn't go anywhere near choosing a song or a no, it wouldn't be me. I'd be nowhere.
Just have this vision that Middlesex back in the day probably had like opera on or something like that in the pavilion at Lord's.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't have that. I can tell you that. There was just few other things on the. There was a TV and a video recorder. That was what was in the Lord's dressing room. Actually, there was no music. It was actually a TV and a video recorder, but no music.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was Daniel Bell Drummond who tweeted about Calvin Harris. 2 to go. We're almost out of time here. 2016, who tweeted this? One thing Rob Key needs to learn when being beat on the course is to pay up. You're all going to get this correct. Who said that back in 2016 or who tweeted that? One thing Rob Key needs to learn when being beat on the course is to pay up. Darren Stevens goes, Patel. One answer in. Steve-O for the coach. Steve-O Mike Yardy and Simon Cook says Darren Stevens. All correct, of course. It is Darren Stevens. Could only really be one answer to that. And the 6th and final question in this round, and indeed of this quiz, is who tweeted this? And this person was replying to a photo of him that I presume someone else had posted. So this guy had seen a photo that someone else had put on Twitter or Instagram or one of those ghastly things and said, surely there's a better picture than that. And this was in 2017, by all accounts. So who would have seen a picture of themselves on social media and said, surely there's a better picture than that when looking at themselves on social media? This is the final question. Mike Yardy goes, Alex Blake, that's a good shout.
Oh, wow, whoopsie.
Matt Walker goes, me. Harry Potter for Simon Cook and Alex Blake for Min Patel. I've got to tell you that Alex Blake is a very good shout. But in fact, the answer is this person was replying to a picture of him put up by Middlesex. It was Harry Podmore. Double points for you, Simon Cook.
Yeah, sure.
There could only really be two possible answers to that, couldn't there? Could only be two possible answers. It was Harry Podmore who said, surely there's a better picture than that. Those of you who spend time in the dressing room, how much time does he spend in front of the mirror?
Too much.
How was his white hair this year? It turned up one session and he'd literally dyed his hair all white.
You can smell him, can't you? You could be at the bottom of the stairs in the dressing room and he could be in his corner in the dressing room, which is a good 40 metres away. You can smell it. I've never known anyone smell so strong of aftershave and deodorant. He is, he looks after himself very well, put it that way. There's a few others.
No, he does. To be fair to him, he does wear ridiculous clothes, but he's one of the very few people I actually get away with. He does, and he actually looks quite good in stuff that I'm frankly going to look ridiculous in. It was Harry Podmore who said, "Surely there's a better picture than that," which completes the quiz. The adjudicator is going to send through to me the final scores. Before I give those, I want to let you know that memberships for next year, please, Lord. We're all there for every match next year. Memberships for 2021 are now on sale. I've got every confidence we can get good use out of them in 2021 as well. They're on sale at the website, which is kentcricket.co.uk. Secure your membership for next year. And we look forward to seeing you back at the Spitfire ground and at Beckenham and other places too. Right, we have the final scores on boards. And with 8 points in fourth place is Mike Yardy. Congratulations, Mike. 8 points for you there. Well done, sir. With 12 points, sharing second place here, Simon Cook and Min Patel. And with 13 points, the Christmas quiz champion is Matt Walker. Congratulations, Walker.
Recount. I demand a recount.
Emotional. That's emotional. I can't remember what happened yesterday, let alone
recount
last year.
Well, do you know what you've won, actually? Do you know what you've won for that?
I dare not ask. Go on.
Well, you can ask because there's nothing for you. So anyway, you can ask. Absolutely nothing.
What a shot. What a shot. Yeah.
Anyway, 13 points. You are the champion. Congratulations. Don't forget that membership's then on sale at kentcricket.co.uk. As I say, let's hope these needles going into people's arms is all going nicely and we're back to something more like normal come April. In the meantime, it just leaves me to thank our guest tonight, Simon Cook. Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Great to have you with us. Matt Walker, thank you.
Been a pleasure, Steve. Happy Christmas, mate.
And to you, I'll put that crown on your head next time I see you. Min Patel up in Loughborough. Are you in Tier 2 up in Loughborough?
Tier 3 university campus.
Oh, right. Okay. We're just hanging on to Tier 2 for about a few more hours here, so I'm going up the boozer when we've done this. And Mike Yardy, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Have a good Christmas.
And you, and I hope you get what you want for Christmas, Mike, including a comb. And that just leaves me to say thank you. That just leaves me to say thank you very much. Thank you for your support this year. I know we couldn't see you, but we joined in all the streams, and we'll have more Spitfire sessions during the new year as well. So keep your eyes on the social media channels and on the website as well. Memberships there at kentcricket.co.uk. Have a safe Christmas. Not sure who we'll be able to see, but please stay safe and healthy. Enjoy the festivities, however limited, and we'll see you in 2021.